There are no other civs that can raise an army as cheaply as Hungary can. Levying units from city-states is cheap, and with this civ's bonuses, upgrading them is even cheaper. Even with the extra movement and combat strength on levied units being reduced by the Better Balanced Game mod, this civ has still earned itself a reputation as one of the premier griefer civs in multiplayer Civ 6. If you've got some extra gold, why not levy a city-state on the other side of the world and pillage someone's tiles? They can't retaliate from all the way over there, after all. With enough luck, you may even be able to levy enough units to actually conquer someone entirely. If this civ could just be boiled down to its bonuses towards levying, it would probably be relegated to the sidelines of multiplayer Civ as a novelty pick. After all, it's not every game that city-states will produce the ideal army to levy. However, perhaps to offset the unreliability of this civ's war bonuses, Hungary also boasts some of the best simming bonuses in the game. 50% extra production towards districts and buildings constructed across the river from the city center is no joke, and the thermal bath is one of the stronger unique buildings in Civ 6. All of this has resulted in Hungary being one of the most popular picks among top players. Let's explore one of the staples of competitive Civ in today's Civ Spotlight for multiplayer Civ 6 with the Better Balanced Game mod. Starting from the beginning, we can see that our spawn is looking rather grim. You see, the wording on the production bonus Hungary gains on districts and buildings in them can be a bit misleading. The bonus is only applied when the district is placed across the river from the city center and adjacent to the city center, meaning we're stuck with only one tile that satisfies this condition in our capital. Make no mistake, we're in a truly dire situation. However, it's only from the greatest depths of despair that heroes can truly be born. I can't say for sure whether it was luck, genius, or simply a stroke of divine inspiration, but what I can say for sure is that, in this fateful game, we saw a play where no one else could. By moving our settler one tile, we managed to settle our capital such that it has 4 tiles that satisfy the condition for our production bonus instead of just one. It's high IQ plays like this that separate the truly great Hungary players from the rest of them. Scouting a bit, we find that we've spawned right next to a large number of geothermal vents, giving us room for some +6 campuses. It must be our lucky day. Or is it? If we consult the spawn bias infographic, we can see that Hungary actually has a pretty high probability of spawning next to geothermal fissures. Furthermore, as geothermal fissures themselves have a higher spawn rate along continental borders, and each continent has its own unique set of luxury resources associated with it, picking this civ is a surefire way to find ourselves with a higher than average amount of luxury resource diversity near our spawn. Yet another reason as to why Hungary is a good pick. We settle our next 2 cities along rivers where they can also get multiple districts that'll benefit from our production bonus. We decide to go for a 2-campus opener that'll set up for some discounted commercial hubs later. We could have placed 2 +6 campuses, but it's actually better here to simply take the +3 in our capital on a tile where we can get our production bonus. This will result in not only the district itself being cheaper, but also every building we make in it later. Don't worry, we'll settle another city to take the +6 campus spot later. On turn 26, we're able to place our first commercial hub. We can see that our commercial hub is discounted, as the estimated completion time is only 5 turns compared to the campus's 7. It gets even better, however. Once we actually place the commercial hub across the river from our city center, the estimated completion time updates to reflect our civ bonus, changing from 5 turns to a mere 3. A 2-population city with only 6 production finishing a commercial hub in 3 turns. This is the power of Hungary. Fast forward to turn 30 and it's time to place our government plaza. While the obvious spot seems to be on the rice tile, right next to our 2 campuses, we again want to take advantage of our production bonus by instead placing it across a river from our city center. This isn't so much for the district itself. The government plaza is incredibly inexpensive after all. It's about getting the production bonus on the buildings we can build in it, which tend to be extremely expensive. Thanks to this positioning, we're able to start our Ancestral Hall on turn 32 and finish it on turn 34 after a single chop. letting us get a free builder as we settle our 4th city. Our opening is a fairly conventional Magnus internal trade route opener. We assign the Governor Magnus to our capital, take some of his promotions for extra internal trade route yields, and plan to build a commercial hub and market in every city so we can increase our trade route capacity and grow our empire quickly. Our first Golden Age dedication is, of course, Pen, Brush, and Voice for the extra culture it grants. There's nothing too fancy in how we play the next dozen or so turns. It's just a regular opening, but with a little bit of extra tempo since we gain extra production towards completing all of our commercial hubs and markets. It's worth noting that the time estimates on the markets, like the districts themselves, don't update to reflect the Hungary bonus production until after we've queued them up. Look at how the time estimate on the market in Shuzekes goes from 7 turns to just 5 turns after we actually start building it. Another thing worth mentioning is that we're going for the city park strategy with the Governor Liang, where we spend multiple promotions on her early on so that we can build a city park in our city. Then we simply move her on to the next city to build another one, doing this repeatedly to get a park in every city. If you want more detail on this strategy, I've outlined it in depth in my guide to using governors in the Better Balanced Game mod. On turn 43, we finish the Feudalism Civic, unlocking the Serfdom Policy card and letting us start to spam 5-charge builders everywhere to chop everything and improve all of our tiles. Around this time, we finally take control of a city-state, Antananarivo, and leverage our leader bonus by levying the city-state to gain an extra envoy. Shortly afterwards, we complete the pyramids, granting a 6th charge to all current and future builders. And believe me, we put all of these extra build charges to good use. Just like a 9-year-old girl living under Sharia law, our land is now fully developed and ready for some action. As we change our form of governance to a merchant republic, we can finally build a Tier 2 building in our government plaza. Of course, our plan is to go for the foreign ministry, due to its inherent synergy with our civ's bonuses towards levying city-states. First, however, we have to run some campus research grants to secure the current great scientist who's up for grabs, Ibn Khaldun. Some frenzied projecting later, and we've secured the Happiness Scientist, granting us a substantial amount of extra yields empire-wide for the rest of the game. Shout out to the city-state of Hong Kong, whose suzerain bonus was granting us a 20% production amplifier while we were running all of those campus research grant projects. On turn 64, we finish industrialization, granting +1 production on all mines in our empire instantly and unlocking the ability to construct factories and power plants. At this point, we realize that we're in a good position to aim for a science victory, so we gun for the scientific theory technology in order to bang out Oxford University. This wonder instantly grants 2 random technologies upon being completed, and often proves to be decisive in multiplayer space races. At this moment, we have 2 great engineers that both grant production towards wonders, and we have a tech lead over the rest of the lobby, and we know that nobody else has gotten their hands on a wonder production engineer. Because of this, we know that we have time to greed for a quick Forbidden City in our capital using one of the engineers, while still being able to finish Oxford University before anybody else can afterwards. Before we finish Oxford, however, we first finish unlocking the Natural History Civic. This grants us access to the Hungarian Thermal Bath, one of the strongest unique buildings in the game. It replaces the zoo, but it has stats that are more comparable to the Colosseum. Like the Colosseum, the Thermal Bath grants 2 amenities to every city center within 6 tiles. However, where the Colosseum grants 1 culture to each city it affects as an added bonus, the Thermal Bath instead grants 2, maybe even 5 or 6 times that amount as production instead. By spending gold we've saved up to buy 2 Thermal Baths immediately, we're able to tag 8 out of our 9 cities with them, granting an incalculably high amount of production to our empire. Naturally, we finished the Oxford University shortly afterwards, being granted the siege tactics and flight technologies instantly. We haven't talked about Hungary's unique units yet in this video, and now's as good a time as any. The Black Army is a decent Corsa replacement, but isn't really strong enough to justify a push on its own. However, the Hussar, which comes later and replaces the cavalry, is extremely powerful. In BBG, this unit gains 2 additional combat strength for every city-state we're suzerain of. Furthermore, as Hussars are unlocked at the same technology as line infantry, and city-states tend to produce melee units above all else, it's fairly common to launch a pincer attack of levied line infantry on one side of a target's empire, and Hussars on the other. Now, we weren't really able to find a good timing to go for that push in this game, as producing a large number of Hussars tends to be mutually exclusive with competing for the best wonders and great people. However, rest assured that playing for a push consisting of Hussars and levied line infantry is a very powerful way of playing Hungary. Returning to the game, we're still going for a science victory. To that end, we want to trigger as many Eurekas as possible. We build 2 banks for the economics Eureka, build 2 forts for the ballistics Eureka, and build 3 line infantry for the replaceable parts Eureka. This is made easier thanks to our civ bonuses, which makes it very cheap to simply levy a city-state, and then upgrade its units to line infantry at a massive discount. Speaking of Eurekas, we get rather lucky with the great library we built earlier. Whenever anyone recruits a great scientist, this wonder will trigger a random Eureka. In this game, we get both the steam power and radio boosts this way, which we wouldn't have been able to trigger otherwise. Our science victory is well underway as our alliance reaches level 2, and we get the boost for chemistry, letting us research it in 1 turn so that we can place down some research labs. At this point, we figure we might as well use our bonuses towards levying to have a bit of fun, and we start griefing the weakest player in the lobby with some levied infantry. By pillaging their tiles with a policy card for 50% extra yields from pillaging, our levied units pay for themselves several times over. In the meantime, our homeland gets to work starting on our science victory, and we place down our first spaceport on turn 84. As for our other cities, they get to work producing a defensive military force just in case. The best units for defending in the late game are fighters. In addition to being good at picking off enemy units, it's possible to deploy fighters to a tile, and enemy land units won't be able to pass underneath them. By deploying a line of these along our border, other players won't be able to get through without making a significant number of fighters of their own to kill our planes. On turn 88, we start launching our satellite, with an estimated completion time of merely 2 turns. Things are looking good. However, Egypt is clearly trying to race us for our science victory. We have the tech lead for now, but we're pretty much stuck at around 600 science per turn, which won't be enough to keep up a 1 tech per turn pace forever. We've been supplementing our science a bit by pillaging Germany with some levied units, but that well is starting to run dry. If we want to get more science pillages, we'll have to look elsewhere. Our target? Babylon to our west. Actually conquering them is not really our goal here. Our core cities have to concern themselves with producing spaceports and space projects, whereas Babylon can commit 100% of their production to defense. In this war, our main focus is simply on killing enemy units so that we can sneak our own units through to pillage as many tiles as we can. In particular, we're looking to pillage campuses and industrial zones to bolster our science a bit. On turn 99, we finally start on the exoplanet expedition. In the meantime, we haven't managed to make all that much progress against Babylon, but that's about to change. You may have noticed that we have been saving up quite a bit of gold. This is because, on turn 100, we unlock giant death robots and are able to instantly purchase 3 of them. These units are nearly unstoppable, and if we could afford the detour to pick up the advanced power cells technology, they'd have the ability to practically one-shot enemy cities as well. However, fortunately for Babylon, we instead have to rush for the off-world mission technology so that we can construct the laser stations necessary to speed along our science victory. A few turns later, on turn 105, we finish researching off-world mission and can finally start building our laser stations. Meanwhile, Egypt still has yet to actually finish launching their own exoplanet expedition. The only thing that could stop us now is a Hail Mary play from them using giant death robots or nuclear missiles, and we deploy a jet fighter to our northeast in order to scout for this. In order to speed up production of the laser stations, we produce a ton of builders with the Public Works policy card, remove all of our tile improvements on woods and rainforests, and get to chopping all of our remaining features for instant bursts of production. We also leverage the effect of the Royal Society building, which lets us consume all of a builder's charges instantly for some extra production on a project. As this effect scales with the number of unspent build charges, it's made even more powerful by the pyramids we built earlier. When given the choice between a Lagrange laser station or a terrestrial laser station, we choose the Lagrange every time. Whereas a terrestrial laser station has a power upkeep cost that can cause it to stop functioning, the alternative laser stations only have a one-time cost of aluminum and then work without maintenance forever. Egypt finishes launching their own exoplanet expedition on turn 107 and have giant death robots on our border, but it's too little, too late. As the turn rolls over to turn 108, we win a clean science victory. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you want more details on the strategies I used to win this game, I'll be uploading the full VOD of this game to the channel shortly. You can catch full games of multiplayer Civ 6 before they get uploaded here by following me at twitch.tv/Herson100. Remember to like, subscribe, and spread the good word about my channel. Herson, signing out.